Yay! Green screen is back. What? Green screen is back. I'm a happy camper. I didn't have it yesterday. Whoo! But I got it today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to need two things for this live today. If you are a regular on the replay, you know some note-taking materials as well as a second device to follow along with the 74 Principles of Real Leadership. You're going to use that device to go to theturnarounddoctor.com. You're going to select the 74 Principles of Real Leadership and scroll and scroll and scroll all the way down to knowledgeable. We are coming around third on reviewing the 74 Principles of Real Leadership. With that being said, let's go ahead and quiet the mind and get it ready to learn today. On your own, inhale and exhale 3 deep breaths, starting right now. I am Dr. Donna Louise Thomas-Rodgers, daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and great-granddaughter of Levi Thomas. Welcome to your morning mental workout today. Our topic, know your business. How did we get here? Neurogenesis, nice little neurons. And then they said, hey, what's up? How you doing? Where you going? Shoot, I'm about to go wire myself on over here. I'm going to wire myself on over there. I'm going to go wire myself on over there. And that's known as neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to create new neural pathways in its side of it. Just like, wow, let's go learn how to do this. Let's go do this. Here's a behavior I want. Here's something I want to do. And then neurons say, cool, let's do this. We ain't new to this. We true to this. This is how neuroplasticity do this shit. What? And then after that, they said, hey, we're going to go over here. What's that over there? That's personal accountability. That's a theory of personal accountability. The 74 Principles of Real Leadership. Let's go over there. And then they started going over there. And now it's a great marriage, and it's called Neuropability. That's the brain's ability to wire itself to the neural pathways of using the 74 Principles of Real Leadership to create unlimited neural pathways so you yourself personally can access your best day in and day out. And all this magic happens where? In the prefrontal cortex of the brain, in the frontal lobe. Specifically today, we are going to be using the executive function of the brain, which is commonly referred to as the CEO of the brain. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's use it today. Know your business. I have went and done an overview of the 74 Principles of Real Leadership. And if you want to know what those are, just go to the 74 Principles of Real Leadership playlist located here on my amazing YouTube channel. Start at the bottom, scroll your way up, catch up with us. And we are at the knowledgeable section, number 2, know your business. And after I did an overview, I started going over every principle so that you can understand it. And then I even took it one step further and defined each word in the principle. So you have this total understanding of every principle of real leadership. Every principle of real leadership. Good morning, Lola. And so now today we're going to do the definition, and then we're going to talk about it. And what I would like to say, for those of you who have my book, I have expanded on Know Your Business. In the book, I talk about not knowing my business and how I was platoon leader in Korea, and Colonel Kendrick, my battalion commander, I was presenting my field training exercise to her. She asked me a question. I didn't know. She pulled me to the side, said, hey, look, this ain't going to work. And so now this morning, it came to me that now that we have discovered that we are the CEO of Me Incorporated, which means we are the leader of, at a minimum, one, you got to know who you is. That way can't nobody tell you who you ain't. So know your business is personal, and it goes right along with personal accountability. So what is the definition of know? I'm glad you asked, Lola. Here it is. To be aware of through study, observation, inquiry, information, or experience. Good morning, Regina. To be aware of through study, observation, inquiry, which is ask questions, which is one of the 74 Principles of Real Leadership, information, or experience. Now, your is just you yourself personally. That's what your is. And business in this instance is everything that you do personally or professionally because you are the CEO of Me Incorporated. We haven't done this in a while. So go ahead and put your hand on your chest and say, I am the CEO of Me Incorporated. I am the CEO of Me Incorporated. Who? I am the CEO of Me Incorporated. That means I'm the boss of me. I'm the boss of me. Okay, you got that in. Put that on. So now everything else I say, the context is I am the CEO of Me Incorporated. Got it? So number one question on the table for you, ladies and gentlemen, this morning is, why don't people know their business? Why don't people know, as the CEO of Me Incorporated, their business? Why don't they know it? Answer me on the table right now. What's up? What's the answer? And I know there's a delay. Slow your roll, Dr. Donna. We got a 5-second delay. I'm aware of that 100%. My question to you is, why don't people know that? And for those of you visiting for the first time, you can see the students that are here, ... thinking brain to let me know that you are thinking, let me know, let me know. Got to turn mine down or you'll hear the echo. So why don't they know, Dr. Donna? I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't know your own business. You know everybody else's business. You know everybody else's business, but your own business. That's personal. That's private. That's classified. We just saw classified yesterday. That is classified information. You don't need to know that about me. But anyway, so what I was doing was I was talking about, no, your business. Know your business. We all need to know your business. And let me put my answer in there. All right. Nola said, because people aren't trying to be best. And Dr. Donna said, because they don't like their business. That's right. Typo, busy. John Smith, you're busy. Oh, all right, John Smith. That's a generic name. Is that your government name, John? They too busy in everybody else's business. Okay, John. John had an answer. Thank you, Nola. Yeah, it scrolled up, so I didn't see it. I just went back to it. Thank you. Kevin said they are better talkers than doers. Okay. And then Regina. And Lola is working. Mm-hmm. Yep. And John Smith. Is that your real actual name? Because that's common, boy. That's like if you went into witness protection or something. They like, yeah, name him John Smith. Okay, Regina. I think we're not taught how to be personally responsible from birth, and that continues throughout our life, thinking that answers are outside of ourselves and not within themselves. Okay, Regina, I think you saw my notes all the way from Florida somehow. Okay, cool. So thank you everybody for answering, and let's see what other answers we can have for this very complex question. It's not complex, but yeah, for this question. All right, number one, lack of self-awareness. Lack of self-awareness. Many people have not been taught how to reflect or self-assess themselves honestly. Okay, the definition of no, Regina, is this: be aware of through study, observation, inquiry, information, or experience. Be aware of through study, observation, inquiry, look at me, can't pronounce that, information, or experience. So basically asking questions. Let me know if you have it, when you have it. All right. Now, The number one answer on the board is lack of self-awareness. Many people have not been taught how to reflect or self-assess themselves honestly, and that is what Regina said. So if you haven't been taught how to do it, how you gonna know who you are? If no one said, let's sit down and express and explore who you are. It's not happening. It's like, you ain't gonna be like your badass daddy. We hate your mama, so you ain't gonna be like her. And now this is what you're gonna be. So now you don't ever get the opportunity to actually reflect or assess. So you never really get to stay in your frontal lobe and explore your personality. Now, because of this, they operate on autopilot. They confuse roles with identity. So this is a perfect example. And I may step on some of your toes. And so if you can't say amen, say ouch. But they confuse their roles. So they confuse parent, employee, and all these other things. So if you look at people's profiles, they will say such and such mama, such and such wife, work at such and such. And that's not who you actually are. Those are roles that you have. And so I think I've said this before that Nola and I have made the transition. I call her, she likes being called my amazing offspring because I used to call her sweetie. I'm like, you're 20 something. I don't need to be calling you sweetie anymore. So we've transitioned to my amazing offspring and Nola. She doesn't like me calling her by her government name because in the past, when she was younger, that meant that she was getting calibrated. But we've worked through that. And so she has made the transition to call me Dr. Donna because I am her mother. I used to be a wife. I used to be a soldier, but I actually am Dr. Donna. And so that's who I am. That's who I'm going to be referred to. So yes, I'm the turnaround doctor, but I am Dr. Donna at the end of the day. So when you confuse your roles, then you're not aware. If you are my age and your children are grown and you have in your profile, I am Nola's mother, then you're not Dr. Donna. You're confusing a role with who you actually are. So independent of my child, I have my own existence. And that's why I might say things because we're on the live and she's on the live, but I can talk about everything that I've done without saying, yes, and so my daughter did this, and my daughter did that, and my daughter did this, and my daughter did that, because I have my own everything. I'm completely self-aware of who I actually am. So when I see that, I know instantly people don't know who they are. And those are just parts of the life. They're just chapters in the story of your life, but that does not mean that that's who you actually are. Who you are is on your government identification. It's not Nola's mom on my passport or my driver's license. That's not. It's my name is on that. So who am I? So that's a big thing. And that's why, Regina, I said, wow, you must have taken my notes. And then they avoid deep questions about purpose, values, or direction. They avoid deep questions about purpose, value, or direction. And the quote that was here is, and this part came from GPT, you can't master what you don't measure or understand. You can't master what you don't measure or don't understand. So if you are walking around saying, I'm Nola's mom, I am Nola's mom, I am, what am I measuring? What am I mastering? Nola's grown. She is grown, fully functioning adult. How can I measure that? So when you avoid the deep questions about purpose, values, or direction, that's when you put, I'm Nola's mom, happily married to Harvey Rogers. That's a joke in itself. You know what I'm saying? 24 years at Frito. Oh, God, that could be my life. Shit, I'm itching. Ooh, okay. Would have been 24 years at Frito-Lay, the VP director of some dumb shit at this point. And that's what would have been in my profile, because I would not have known who I am. I wouldn't have taken the time to understand my purpose, value, and direction because I'm too busy caught up in these roles: wife, mother, auntie, sister, daughter, stepdaughter, all these things. But that's not who I am. It's just part of me. Those are ingredients that make up my life. So that's part of it. The self-awareness point is so important, because if you don't know who you are personally, you don't have a personal relationship with yourself, you are not going to hold yourself personally accountable. What are you holding yourself personally accountable to? What standards do you have? You don't have any. So you're not going to know who you are as the CEO of Me Incorporated. You too busy being Nola's mom. But anyway, number 2. And she never called me mom, but once she got to before, she would stop calling me mommy and started calling me ma'am. She was like, you're not a mommy, and I'm not doing that. So I will call you ma'am, but I will not call you mommy or mom or mother or my dear. Okay, number 2, external noise and pressure. External noise and pressure. Here we go with society and culture again. Society and culture and even family, Stuckmelees, can impose expectations that drown out personal truth. So society, culture, and even family can impose expectations that drown out personal truth. I had to do exactly what my mother said because my sister was doggone a rebel without a cause. So everything she didn't do, I'm the last point. Just like Andre Agassi, it's like, nope, your ass is gonna do everything. We didn't do it, but now we're gonna make you do it. So you're gonna go off and do all this stuff that we were supposed to do. We're gonna make you do it. And so now you got all this pressure. So I can't educate you. I can't be a nerd. I can't talk about the brain. I got to be over here making sure chips is on the truck and I'm making people look good and everything else in the family. So they say, yeah, my daughter's is I wasn't even supposed to be over there, but it is what it is. So chasing status, money, or approval instead of meaning. Chasing status, money, or approval instead of meaning. Every time I got a promotion, we got to go back. We got to tell everybody. We got to show them my OERs. We got to show them my PDRs. I got to pull up in the woo. I got to make sure I got a house. I got to come home with some new shit. I got to have all these things. We live in the suburbs. We live over here. Chasing all the wrong shit. So I'm chasing all this materialistic stuff instead of purpose and meaning. And then what happens is you start living by shoulds instead of must. You start living by shoulds instead of must and measuring success by other people's standards. You are measuring success. That's why there's so many people. We can't go a week. We saw a hideous ass two-tone damn Rolls Royce Dawn the other day, dropping somebody off at the doctor's office. I was like, this thing, I don't even know why Rolls Royce let that off the damn lot. Like, for real. Like, why? Like, why did you do that to that vehicle? Made no sense. And we just was like, but it's that status. I'm gonna pull up in the dawn and do all of these things, and it was a terrible looking vehicle. But hey, it's everybody's personal choice. So now you have all these standards. So our refrigerator works, but if I was still talking to other people, they'd be like, "Why you still got white?" First of all, the kitchen is white and tan, and it's connected to the family room, and the furniture in there is white. So a stainless steel refrigerator ain't even gonna match. If the blinds, the walls, everything in that room is white, hence the white refrigerator came with the house. So you start trying to do all of these other things and you totally forget about you because you don't know who you are because you're sitting in a house with white, but you got stainless steel marble that don't match anything else. So it's very interesting when we go to appointments and people have the same couch, the same everything, the same photos, everything. I'm like, this is not you. You have no idea who you are, but this is not you. So number 3, fear of facing the truth. Fear of facing the truth. There's a whole authentic section in my book, Real Leaders Wear Pink, and Be Honest and Establish Trust to Be Trustworthy are there because you got to live your truth. So fear of facing the truth. Knowing your business means being brutally honest with yourself. I mean, like brutally honest with yourself. In yourself, by yourself, in your personal time, you got to get real honest. I told y'all I will cuss myself out washing the dishes. The fuck is wrong with you? Why are you over here doing this? And you can use whatever language, whatever method, if you want to sit down and write yourself a note. However you need to be brutally honest with yourself, you be brutally honest with yourself. Because brutal honesty can reveal uncomfortable truths, regrets, wasted time, or bad habits. So when you are brutally honest with yourself, you're going to be uncomfortable as hell. You might as well be in a dentist chair, getting a filling with no Novocaine or any laughing gas, pain, general, the numbing medicine or anything like that. Because it's going to be painful. It is. And you fear change. So failure of even your own potential. So meet your potential is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. How you going to meet your potential if you can't face the truth? I had to teach myself how to read if I was getting a bachelor's degree in public law and government. I was not going to finish school. If I did not teach myself how to read, I don't know where I would be right now, but I damn sure wouldn't be Dr. Donna. You got to read a lot to get 3 degrees, especially the degrees that I have. You ain't skating by. I don't give a fuck if you're using ChatGPT. That's not going to help you with the Blue Book exams. I don't know what they're using now, but back then, by the time you got to your junior year, Blue Book, that was it. Here go the question, here go the prompt, write everything you know about that. And that's it. So not being brutally honest with yourself is going to stop you from facing the truth, which is going to stop you from being you, which is going to stop you from not knowing your business. Number 4, no time or space to reflect. no time or space to reflect. So modern life is fast and full of distractions. But you know what? Eliminate distractions is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So it might be fast, but eliminate distractions. If you are focused on a goal, you eliminate everything that's stopping you from getting to that goal. So without stillness or solitude, self-clarity is nearly impossible. Without stillness or solitude, self-clarity is nearly impossible. I say, and I haven't said it in a while, you need 15 minutes or more a day with yourself. And I used to, when I was on TikTok Live, ask people, did you get your 15 minutes? And if a loser showed up in your life, did you tell them so long, so I can see you later, bye-bye, baby, absolutely not, kick rocks, miss me with that nonsense and bullshit? To say that every day. And those are the two things that we answered at the end of the day. So without stillness and solitude, self-clarity is nearly impossible. If you don't get 15 minutes or more with yourself every single day, you are not going to be clear about who you are. And that is unaccountable people's objective. They want to keep you running and spinning in circles and hijack the amygdala so you never make that neural pathway trip to your frontal lobe, so you can't think, problem solve, reflect, or anything else, have peace or anything else. Their goal is to keep your ass busy from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, and then make sure that you have a restless night of sleep so you will never have full cognition of your amazing brain. And then people rarely pause long enough to ask, what am I really doing? People never pause or rarely pause to ask that pivotal question. What am I really doing? When I was 37 years old, and I was literally, I'm in 15 years on June 25th, leaving my corporate job. When I was in the hospital on portable oxygen with a portable EKG, Friday of Memorial Day weekend, looking at my then 7-year-old child, 7-year-old child at the time, no, 6, because we left a year later. Looking at and trying to find somebody to come pick her up so Child Protective Services would not come get her because I was being admitted for severe stress and panic attacks, and they thought some shit was wrong for real. I had a moment of reflection as I was sitting there with that oxygen and beep, 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 on my phone trying to find somebody to get her. I said, this shit is a salty snack. It ain't even a fucking food group. What the fuck is wrong with you? At a moment of clarity, and said, nah, when you get out this hospital, you're going to have to do something different. You're definitely going to have to do something different because this ain't working. What am I really doing? I am about to die at 37 years old to make sure people have Doritos, Fritos, Cheetos, Flamin' Hots, grandma's cookies, and some beef jerky and some chips and salsa? Nah, not me. Number 5, lack of tools or guidance. And as Regina mentioned in her answer, you're not taught this. So lack of tools or guidance. Self-discovery is a skill, not a default. Self-discovery is a skill, not a default. Your manufacturing default is negativity bias. You are hardwired for negativity bias. So negativity bias is the opposite of self-reflection and self-discovery. Negativity bias says get in your tribe, stay in your cave, your comfort zone, your neighborhood, your zip code, your cubicle, and don't you move until the day after you die. And then we're going to bury your ass with the rest of the caste system, the rest of the cubicalized people that we have. You're going to take your ass over there and stay. Even in the afterlife, you're going to be stuck with the rest of us. So there is no self-discovery. But self-discovery is an actual skill. As Regina mentioned, you have to learn it. It's not default. Your manufacturing default setting, if you had to reboot and start over, it's going to be negativity bias. So without frameworks, mentorships, or mental models, people don't know how to find themselves. Who am I? Where am I? So then you go on this fake ass self-reflective journey and you find yourself in the woods somewhere releasing coffee beans into the universe to purge. But guess what you didn't do? Wire the neural pathways. So as soon as you get back from your yoga retreat, your year of eat, pray, love, if you didn't create the neural pathways to sustain it, it's not going to be there. Use it or lose it. You can have all of you ever notice you go on vacation, you go to a retreat, you go do these things and you come back and shit is the same because your brain is the same. It just went on vacation. It had a good experience, but you didn't rewire the neural pathways. You didn't wire new neural pathways. That's why you get back home and say, damn, this shit ain't changed. You didn't change. That's why the shit didn't change. Yeah, the shit gonna stay the same until up here. Until you create new neural pathways, it's gonna be regular and the same. And then it's gonna start to atrophy. So school and work rarely teach inner mastery. And that's why I said, Regina, you summed up 3 things in one. School and work rarely teach inner mastery, so it's not going to happen. Number 6, emotional baggage. That's the Asian guy on TikTok that says emotional damage. So because of emotional baggage, you have unprocessed trauma, shame, or self-doubt, and all of that can cloud your judgment. So because of the emotional baggage given to you by your unaccountable stuck million stins and the people that you work with, unprocessed trauma, shame, or self-doubt can cloud your judgment. We know that's manifests itself as cortisol. It goes into the frontal lobe, creates brain fog, and the last thing you're going to be able to do is think clearly. Emotional baggage is nothing but a bunch of damn hijacked amygdala things that took place. And now every time you get that false warning, that false narrative, that warning, hey, don't do that, because remember the last time, woo, oh, hey, stop. And the amygdala was designed to just warn you from actual real threats, not perceived threats, not false positives, not, oh my God, you're supposed to be a saber-toothed tiger. And now it's every unaccountable person walking the face of the planet Earth. It's just fear everywhere. So if you have unprocessed trauma, shame, or self-doubt, it's going to cloud your judgment. I have been on lives and had PTSD moments of my childhood, of everything else, and you all have experienced that with me. Why? So that you can see it happens, and it's supposed to happen to get out of the way so that you can get to you. You can clear that brain fog and then go back and access your frontal lobe where your personality and everything else resides. So people may avoid their business because it means reopening those wounds. That means you're going to have to go back in because the shit got gangrene anyway. You damn near lose a limb because you won't go back in. Go back in, clean it all out, put some mercurochrome and some methylate on that shit, let it burn like nobody's business, and then let it heal, dress the wound, clean the wound, and when it's over, put some shea butter on it, and it will be a scar that might or might not be there, and you can then just let that be a chapter in your life instead of part of your whole life. And then the other one is, or they may carry limiting beliefs that block clarity and courage. So you're either going to avoid it because you got to open that wound, or you're not going to have the neurological pathways to even process what's happening because of your cognitivity bias, your conformity bias, the isms, racism, sexism, ageism, beautyism, and everything else, beauty bias, all of that is stopping you. And it's heavy. And you know, Erykah Badu's bag lady, pack light. Don't be trying to pack for a weekend excursion and now you got 15 suitcases coming with you, taking it wherever you go. Carry only what you need is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So carry only what you need means you don't have emotional baggage. You open that physical rucksack up and take all that shit out. You open up that mental rucksack and you take all of that trauma, all that shame, all that self-doubt, and you say, I don't need this shit no more, and don't recycle it, destroy it. Number 7, and this is the final one, comfort in confusion. Comfort in confusion. So strangely, not knowing your business can feel safer. So not knowing your business is safer than knowing your business, because now you just got your doggone comfort zone. You're just sitting there like, oh, cool. I know this toxic, this dysfunctional hell, but I know it. Dysfunctional as hell, but I know it. So what happens when you have comfort and confusion is you don't have to be responsible. You get to blame your parents until your ass is 82 years old, still blaming mama and papa. No, baby. You can blame others on your circumstances. Because my mama was a crackhead for 18 months. And so, yeah, that's why I can't read. That math don't ever math. You can't never. Those two ain't got shit to do with each other. Not as long as in America, you got free public libraries and they got hooked on phonics. They got all kind of things now. Rosetta Stone, not Rosetta Stone, but dang, I can't think of the other one to teach you how to read. But yeah, no, don't blame your others on circumstances. And then you can stay busy without being intentional. You are on every committee at the church. You are active in your sorority and your fraternity. You are the mom, the school mom, the classroom mom, and you are coaching your children's or your grandchildren's softball team, and you volunteer at so many different nonprofits, and you feed the homeless, and you do all, you're just a servant unto the Lord. But you ain't fixed none of your shit. Fix you first. How you gonna go help somebody else and your ass is helpless? How? You are neurologically inept to even solve the simplest of problems in your household, but you're going to go off and do grand things. Absolutely not. So in summary, People don't know their business because they haven't slowed down, looked inward, or been taught how, to go back to Regina's point. And deep down, many are afraid of what they'll find or what they'll have to change. They are afraid. The numbers on the lives are low, not because I'm not the shiz naive, because I am, and not because real leadership and neuropability doesn't work, but because of this here, right here. You are afraid of what you're going to find on this scavenger hunt through your own life. And if you find something, you're going to have to change it. So you go back to the comfort and confusion. You go back and you stay there. You say, I'm a good person. I donate. I pay my tithes and offerings. And you say all this shit to lie to yourself, putting this nice little facade of, oh, you know what, she is always help. If you just need something, I promise you can call Dr. Donna, and she got it. She got it. She got it. But she also got a bunch of trauma, shame, and self-doubt that's clouding her judgment, because it's easier to look without. You know, you just got to be self-sacrificial because I'm a selfless leader and that's what I'm doing. No, you're ignoring the most important person. You ain't running your business. How you going to go off and help everybody else and your business is on life support? Your business is one paycheck away from being gone. You dealt 2 customers don't show up and you got to close the doors of your business, which is your life. So it is 100% unacceptable. What questions do you have about why don't people know their business? And again, lack of self-awareness is number 1. Number 2 is external noise and pressure. Number 3 is fear of facing the truth. Number 4, no time or space to reflect. Number 5, lack of tools or guidance. Number 6, emotional baggage. And number 7, comfort in confusion. The chat is working. What is it? Okay. Number 1, lack of self-awareness. Many people have not been taught how to reflect or assess themselves honestly. They operate on autopilot. They confuse roles. So a parent or employee, etc., with identity. They avoid deep conversations about purpose, values, or directions. And you can't master what you don't measure or understand. And let me know if you have that before I move on to Know Your Business Self-Assessment Tool. All right. Now, Know Your Business Self-Assessment Tool. So Know Your Business Personal Clarity Check. So as Regina mentioned, and as I mentioned as well, you don't have something to say, do I know my business? Am I doing self-reflection? Am I spending time with myself to actually know myself on a personal level? And I've mentioned, take yourself out on a date. Take yourself out on a date and just have time with yourself, because you take you wherever you go. And if you don't like you, then you stuck with you. All right, so number 1 is know your purpose. Know your purpose. What do I believe I'm here to do? Big picture. By the time you get my age or older, it's called your personal legend. What are you working on? What are you planting trees for which shades you may never sit? So what do I believe I'm here to do? Now, the question that's asked in school is not what do I believe I'm here to do? If you have spiritual parents or you have a spiritual existence, you might have that question posed to you. But in the American education system, it's not what do I believe I'm here to do? The question is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And that's the problem. I want to be president. I want to be a firefighter. But not what do I believe I'm here to do? Because there are, and we need firefighters. We need all of these people to help us. But when you say, I want to be a nurse, that's not me believing what I came here to do. That's the role. That's a role. But being a nurse is only going to work when you're at work. So if you are ordering food at lunch, you are not a nurse. You are a hungry person that needs to eat. So a nurse is what you do, but it's not who you are. So what do I believe I'm here to do? And if you ask that question of yourself, it is going to change. So when I was sitting there on the portable oxygen and the EKG, I did not believe that I came here to ensure that chips got put on a truck to the point it stressed me out so much I was having panic attacks. I didn't even have panic attacks in the military, and people's lives were actually on the line. And so I said, look, you didn't feel this way, and people could die. Ain't nobody gonna die from this unless they eat too much of it. So that's that. And they would have health problems first before they actually ended up not being here. So what do I believe I'm here to do? Big picture. If you don't have that answer, regardless of how old you are, you need to know your purpose, because when you know your why, people can't talk you into their why. But the reason why people are being talked into other people's why is because number one answer is lack of self-awareness. If you know, nobody can talk me into being an astronaut. I'm good. I don't want to do that. I don't have any desire to go and burst through the Earth's atmospheric pressure. I don't want to do that. I'm good. I like being down here. So you're not going to talk me into your why, because it's going to impact my why. Now, what makes me feel, the next question under Know Your Purpose is, what makes me feel alive, useful, or fulfilled? What makes me feel alive, useful, or fulfilled? Making sure that raw materials turned into finished goods and got sold in the marketplace did not make me feel alive. It did not make me feel useful, and it did not make me feel fulfilled. So how did they get me for almost 10 years? I got so many certifications at Frito-Lay. I was on so many company teams. Well, not so many, but I was on a national team to change the whole continuous improvement for the entire company. I was a DOT auditor. I was a CIMT and a PBT and a Move Smart trainer. And as a result of those things, I was always doing something else. And oh, by the way, I got a doctorate. I got married, divorced, had a baby, and got a doctorate, and did all those other things in the time that I was at Frito-Lay. Because if I just had to take raw materials, turn in finished goods, and sell in the marketplace, and I was in manufacturing, warehouse traffic, and sales ops. So that's the only reason why they got almost 10 years out of me, because I was doing a bunch of other stuff. Yes, I was. And that is what made me feel alive and useful and fulfilled, because I was learning and I was teaching other people how to become their best. Otherwise, the job, boring. And then the final question under Know Your Purpose is, if I could only do one thing that mattered, what would it be? If I could only do one thing that mattered, what would it be? Y'all know the answer. Teach adults how to hold themselves personally accountable to become their best. That's what I would do. And that's what I was actually doing. Just didn't know it at the time. Steve Jobs said the dots will connect, and the dots are connecting. The picture is clear. It's 100% clear. So if you don't know your purpose, you are not going to know your business. Number 2, know your strengths and your weaknesses. Know your strengths and your weaknesses. And that's one of the 74 principles of real leadership as well. Leverage your strengths and understand your weaknesses. So the questions that you need to do under this for your self-assessment is, what are my top 3 strengths or talents? Top 3, mine, not anybody else's, not together. What are my top 3 strengths or talents? The next question is, what comes naturally to me that others struggle with? What comes naturally to me that others struggle with? Nola has told me I can look at any situation and go, That's how you get the best out of that. Automatically. That's the problem. That's what's stopping you from getting the best. And that's why, because I am a people person. I'm an introvert, but I can look at people and their behaviors and tell you exactly who the problem is, exactly what the strategy is. And I can do it in a matter sometimes of seconds, but definitely in minutes. And if it's something big, then I'm gonna need a little bit more time. It was nothing for us to drive around and know and say, you need to fix the spaghetti bowl. You need to fix this. You need to fix that. Why is that over there? See, I know you can fix this over there. And it's what I came here to do. That's why I got 11,400 videos, 500 videos on YouTube, because I have the answer. It's nothing for me to make a post. It's nothing for me to say, oh, I can make a video of that. I can do this. I can do that. Now, get me out here talking about it's civil engineering, because we have a roundabout from our house. One is smaller than the other one, and it's hard to turn. We even saw a tractor trailer not be able to navigate it successfully. And then Nola wants to ask me why the road is like that. I said, I'm not a civil engineer. I don't know why they made this decision to make this one smaller. So sometimes I'm like, dude, civil engineering, I don't know why those people made that decision. Maybe they couldn't excavate the road out. Wasn't here when it happened. Our area is only like 30 something years old. Okay, so what are your top 3 strengths or talents? The next question you ask under Know Your Strengths and Weaknesses is this: what comes naturally to me that others struggle with? And that's what I just mentioned. And then the final question is, what habits or traits consistently hold me back? What habits or traits consistently hold me back? And for me, it was reading. Reading and reading comprehension had me in a chokehold. I mean, I'm like, ooh, shit, words. Ooh, if the 3-syllable words, damn. And I wish I still had that dictionary from college. I had it from college all the way until I think my move from Florida to Michigan is where the dictionary got lost. But I had a big, giant college Webster dictionary, and every time I looked up a word, I highlighted it. And then when I go back, I'm like, you already looked this word up. You should know what this word means. So teaching myself how to read was the biggest thing. And then also anger management. I had to put the bat and the tire iron down, because my anger and my lack of reading comprehension was holding me back. Number 3, know your vision and direction. Know your vision. And vision is one of the 74 principles. Develop your vision is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Know your vision and your direction. And here are the 3 questions under this one to ask of yourself. What kind of life am I building? What kind of life am I building? If we go back to why people don't know their business, because theirs is all about status, money, and all these other external things. But you have to ask yourself, what kind of life am I building? The life that I have to live day in and day out, not the one that my mother told me I needed to be, and the other grandparents and other people. No, you really good at this. You really good at, no, what kind of life am I building? The next question under Know Your Vision and Direction is, where do I want to be in 1 year and in 5 years? Where do I want to be in June of 2026? And then where do I want to be in June of 2031? 2030, because we're in 25. Where do I want to be? And then the final question under Know Your Vision and Direction is, am I moving in that direction, or am I just busy? So are you the tortoise, or are you a hamster on a wheel? Hamsters just go on those clear balls and on a wheel, and they on the road to nowhere quickly. Whereas a tortoise is moving in that direction one day at a time, one step at a time. So am I moving in that direction, or am I just busy? Number 4 is know your values and boundaries. Know your values and boundaries. And the 3 questions that you need to ask yourself are, what principles guide my decisions? What principles guide my decisions? And so y'all know you got 74 of them that guide your decisions. They are the principles of real leadership, need to be guiding your decisions. What will I no longer tolerate or compromise on? What will I no longer tolerate or compromise on? You are not getting my phone number. I am not talking on the phone unless it has to do with something safety related, medical related, or business 1000%. There's no other way that we can communicate. Got to be on the telephone, because otherwise you're not giving. I'm not chit chatting. Hey, yeah, that's right. Oh, let me see what you have. No, my chit chatting years are behind me. You missed that time in my life. So I will no longer tolerate or compromise on personal accountability and my personal cell phone number. And then the final question is, what or who drains me? And why do I allow it? What or who drains me and why do I allow it? It's been 3 years, 37 months since I severed the relationship with my immediate family 1000% completely. They can't call me if they wanted to. I'm not their lifeline anymore. What is draining you? Frito-Lay was draining me. Being a strategic advisor at the Urban Chamber here in Las Vegas was draining me. And so I'm not going to be drained just so your shit can be sustained. I'm not going to be drained so your shit can be sustained. Absolutely not. I have a t-shirt that says, let that shit fall apart. I will let it fall apart, fall to the ground and disintegrate if it means me sacrificing myself for it. 1000%. Okay, and then number 5 is the final one. Know your worth and work. Know your worth and work. And here are the 3 questions. What is my business? The work, mission, or message only I can own. Okay, that's a deep question, because I've said one of the reasons why I stopped being a public speaker is because you could Google or chat GPT, Regina or somebody, how many public speakers are in the world? Professional public speakers. How many? It's a lot. I haven't looked at the number in a minute, but I know chat has a big answer for you. So why am I going to go and give speeches about leadership or business when there are people giving speeches about leadership and business and safety and everything else? They don't need another. They need a new. And I have a poem about that. So only I can do it. A message or a mission that I can own. Daily personal accountability based upon the 74 principles of real leadership and theory of personal accountability, Neuropability. I teach adults how to hold themselves personally accountable, not to be regular Chris Henrys, but at that 100% mark, day in and day out. Be a bad mofo too. It's plenty of room. It's plenty. We have 6.8 billion bad mofos, adults walking around the world. That's what can actually happen. So there's space available. It's not limited. It's not as limited at all. The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace D. Waddell said the supply is unlimited. So we can have an unlimited supply of personally accountable adults, and the world will actually be a better place. So what is my business? The work, mission, or message only I can own. Me. That's it. Nobody else can do it. In the world, just me. And next question is, what problems do I naturally solve for others? Naturally, you could do it in your sleep. You can naturally solve it in your sleep and not solve people's problems that they fucking created. That's not it. So we didn't used to have indoor plumbing. Someone created indoor plumbing. We didn't used to have doorknobs. You take doorknobs for granted, but they didn't used to be there. We didn't have windshield wipers, and now we do. So what is the problem that you solve for others to make what they do simpler? You got impact drivers and drills and sawzalls and all these things to make building houses and businesses simpler. We have cars now when we used to have LPCs, which are our feet, low performance carriers. And now we got jets that can go around the world faster than taking a damn boat that took you like 7 months to get here. Kevin said hard to pinpoint, but estimated 10,000 to 148,000 public speakers globally and professionally. Google. So do we need Dr. Donna? Let me ask y'all this question. Should Dr. Donna keep doing personal accountability and neuropability or go back to being a public speaker? So could I be one of or the only? And I actually have a post that says that. So should I be one of potentially 148,000 or the only? The only. The only. That's what you came here. The one and the only. And then the final question is, how do I measure success for me, not for society? How do I measure success for me? I can't go a week without getting a message or an email from somebody telling me they're going to increase my Instagram followers. Currently, I have 14,500 Instagram followers. I've never asked for an Instagram follower. Not happening. I have 15,700 Instagram posts and 14,500 Instagram followers. So what's important to me is that 15,700 followers. I have 17.5 billion views on my Jiffy page. something that people you can't fake it. You can't, because people don't know. I mean, there are ones of me, but people don't know when they're searching up a sticker or whatever who it belongs to, and they just use it. And it is at 17.5 billion views from 2018 until now. So that's 7 years, 17.5 billion. So 15 years ago, I didn't have 17.5 billion shit. I ain't had 17.5 million shit. 17.5 thousand shit when it comes to something I created on my own. So this isn't about when people say, oh my goodness, people have said this, she got more posts than followers. I do, because it's quality, not quantity. So if I have 1,000 people holding themselves personally accountable, that's bigger than having 1.5 million followers who ain't doing shit but watching me do mukbangs. That's ignoramus at it. It's idiotic. So why would I do that? Do you know how many people are doing the same thing? And the thing for me that I've noticed, and I did this a couple years ago, is if you go and you do leadership coaches, you do that on any social media platform, all their shit looks exactly the same. If you do thought leaders, all their podcasts, that's why I'm struggling getting the microphone. Yeah, and then so yeah, what an interesting thing was, and I noticed as I was reading your book, and by the way, it's a great book. Yeah, so tell me about now. Failure is not an option. All right, so what were you thinking when you wrote this? That's an excellent question, Dr. Donna. Thank you for asking that. As if you don't get the questions ahead of time. You actually tell them what questions they can ask. You send them in sometimes so they'll know exactly what to ask you. We did this with my sister, so it's no coincidence. Even if you see people on the news and they're saying, yes, and my new product is all staged. Okay, just so you know, side note. But just look at it. Makeup tutorials, motivation. You gotta want it. You gotta be it. You gotta woosah. And now we're just gonna take time and just breathe. Just breathe it in and breathe it out. And God said, let there be light. And then there was light. Everybody's category is exactly the same. And that's how you know they aren't doing what they came here to do. Someone on Instagram about 2 or 3 weeks ago said, your content is like nobody else. It's kind of retro. I can't really put my finger on it. But even when I'm on TikTok and I scroll, and then my video pops up, it's something totally different because I created the format that I have and nobody else has my format. And I'm not changing my format to blend in with everybody else. Why blend in when you can stand out? So I measure success. 15 years ago, I was on 2 weeks of stress leave from Frito-Lay, self-assessing. The fuck am I getting ready to do now? Because this right here, I can't die. Nola needs me. And as people tried to tell me, you walking away from this money, what you going to do for health insurance and all that, it was the biggest leap of faith that I have ever taken in my entire life. And I don't regret not an day in these last 15 years. I ain't never looked back and say, well, damn. I never walked down the grocery aisle and be like, see, but now because they got the blue flame Doritos, damn, I wish I had been there when they made this. I'm like, damn, these pretzels for real? Are you with this roll gold? What? Flaming hot Funyuns puffs? Man, why wasn't I in that meeting? Not one time. Not one time have I walked past soda and said, yep, sugary soft drinks. That's diabetes in a bottle right there. And I ain't a part of that shit. Fuck. Why did I leave? Absolutely not. It took me 5 years to stop flipping the bird at Frito-Lay trucks when they drove past. I'm gonna go to CVS and they in the parking lot at the gas station. I'm like, mother, you. Yeah, so I don't miss any of that. So how do I measure success for me? For me, I'm from the Motor City and I don't have a car. And that took me a minute to get on. I was like, what is this about? You got to pull up. If you live in a Motor City, you better be pulling up in the new. You understand what I'm telling? When they drop the new Grand Cherokee, you better have it. You better have that new doggone Navigator. You better. Or you ain't doing shit. Now, you might be sleeping on the floor in the basement of your mama's house, but you better pull up in the new. You know what I mean? Definitely. Y'all ain't got toilet paper in your house, but you got the new Air Jordans. What? Ain't got a bookcase, but you got that 85-inch television mounted to the wall with the sound bar and shit, sitting on that leather furniture from 1972, but you got that new TV. So that is success for them, not for me. I am 52 years old and I made it when my family didn't. I am not an alcoholic. I am not a drunk, and I don't take prescription medication of any kind. That is success for me. That is success. Raising my daughter single-handedly to be the person that she is today, me, her, higher power, God in the universe, that is success to me. And no one will come and try to tell me something else. Me getting divorced and never looking back and never feeling like that was a bad decision is success to me. Well, you don't think you ever gonna get married again? No, I'm not. I did that. I don't like the job description. So no, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to let people talk me into something other than what I'm currently doing. It has nothing to do with personal accountability, leadership, and making people learn, teaching people how to become personally accountable. I want no parts of it. I finally know why I was born, and I'm not about to let somebody talk me out of that. Now, finally, here is the bonus, the accountability mirror. So you're going to look in the mirror and ask yourself these 3 questions. It's the accountability mirror. Am I being honest about my life? Am I being honest about my life? Be honest is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Am I doing my work or am I avoiding it? Am I doing my work or am I avoiding it? And even at Frito-Lay, I was still doing my work, but I was doing that work because my mom told me to get a good job in corporate industry, in private industry. So I was doing that work, and that work was boring as hell. That's why they said we got to train. I'm going. In the Army, I'm going. I'm going. What Master Gunner? I'm going. I don't care. EEO training, I'm going. Hey, I'll do it. Give it to me. Because this right, additional duties, I want it. Because then I was teaching people. I was educating people on the things that they needed in order to become their best. So am I doing my work or am I avoiding it? Busy work. Busy work. And then the final question is, what do I need to stop, start, or face today? What do I need to stop, start, or face today? And this just reminded me that I totally forgot about turnaround tactics. And turnaround tactics is a tactic that you need to stop, start, or continue doing something, but you kind of just stuck. And you're like, dang, I don't know what else to do. And then you get to get a turnaround tactic so you can get your butt going in the right direction or back in the right direction or continue to grow forward. So again, the accountability mirror, you're going to look yourself in the mirror and ask these questions. Am I being honest about my life? Am I doing my work or am I avoiding it? And what do I need to stop, start, or face today? So in summary, know your business self-assessment tool. Number 1, know your purpose. Number 2, know your strengths and weaknesses. Number 4, know your vision. Number 3, I'm sorry. Let's do this again. Number 1, know your purpose. Number 2, know your strengths and weaknesses. Number 3, know your vision and direction. Number 4, know your values and boundaries. And number 5, know your work. The accountability mirror, you're going to look yourself in the mirror. Am I being honest about my life? Am I doing my work or avoiding it? And then number 3, what do I need to stop, start, or face today? In closing, what did you learn today? And what did you learn about yourself? And remember, ... little brain, anything to let me know. Let me know. Okay. What did you learn today? And what did you learn about yourself? Is the chat working? Okay, got it. And I wish Regina said, thank you, Nola. I see your yes. And Regina said, I learned the distinction between role and identity. And the unaccountables want you to be attached to that role so that you will do that role. But their whole objective is to ensure that you don't become who you came to be. Because if you become, so think about, y'all see how great of a worker I am for myself, and you see how much I can produce in a given day. That's an asset to any organization. And so while Frito-Lay did not like everything that I did so much well that they were willing to go, fuck it, that's not gonna matter because she gonna get this shit done better than anybody. And you do need, and Nola and I had this conversation because she's going into her 5th year of business. And here's what my philosophy on this. Kindergarten is a bus, right? You're just there away from your parents. You're just getting used to being home if you don't go to a preschool. But 1st grade through 5th grade is the foundation for, in theory, your educational experience. Teaches you your alphabets, how to do math, how to interact with people, problem solve, science projects, and all of that. That's what you get at the beginning of your formative years. What happens at 18 or 22, 23, if you decide to go to university, is the first 5 years of your adult life should mirror the first 5 years of your childhood as far in regards to school. And it doesn't. So somehow you're prepared for school, but then the first 5 years of your adult life, you're not. You're just told you're an adult. You're 18, go get a job. You're 18, go pay rent and car and all this other stuff, figure it out. And that's what's happening. So you don't have your frontal lobe yet. You don't have this experience, but somehow you automatically an adult. And so what I told her is that this first 5 years for her in business is the equivalent to my first 5 years in the military. And what it does is it gives you the foundation, the mud seal for your entire life. It teaches you how to file your taxes. It teaches you financial literacy. It teaches you problem solving, communicate effectively. So it allows you, if given the environment, to become self-aware so that you can then go and understand your purpose, why you're actually here. But we aren't given that opportunity to have that development for those first 5 years once you finish your education. And that's the problem. And now we have dysfunctional old ass people and trying to figure out why. Well, where was the foundation for adult life? Where was it taught? Where did you get to have 5 jobs in 5 years? You got to know what you're doing. And you got to do that thing for the rest of your life, even if you hate it. It's absurd. And 100% is absurd. So we definitely need to relook at that and rethink that whole process of where is the foundation, those 5 years to get you ready for everything else that happens in adult life. And so that's why this last year is important for her, because she's sealing the deal on her 5th year of establishing the foundation and the structure for her adult life. No, Kevin said, today I learned that I'm not the only person that struggles with time and space reflection. That is correct. It is 6.8. You got a lot of company. Regina said, the section Know Your Business, Self-Reflect, and Accountability Mirror are the things I need to hear and do in my life. And then Nola said, I learned about myself that I know my business. And Kevin said, myself, I have to sit down with my accountability mirror. I'm seeing some things that I don't like. And remember, mirror MRI too for your personal accountability. You want to go back and listen to that again too, because it's coming from within. It's without, but it's projecting within, and now you don't like what you're seeing on the outside. And Nola said, I learned why people don't know their business. And then Regina said, I agree with you and Nola in terms of establishing foundations for adult life. This is so true. Sounds like a revolution up in here. Whoa, do you want a revolution? Yes. So I'm constantly thinking about ways to improve humanity all the time, whether I want to or not. I can't turn it off. But this is my objective. I want to lead. People say, I want to leave the world a better place, but then you ain't doing shit. And the final thing that I have for you all today is, and I don't have my glasses on, I'm trying to read my handwriting. We're going to see how this goes. Unaccountable people are telling you what to do based on physical and religious reasons. I'm telling you how to use your brain to do what you came here to do. Theirs is physical or physiological, and mine is neurological. And I had this conversation with Nola. This came about because yesterday I was waiting on Nola to come back to the car for a previous client. So I was scrolling through TikTok. I don't believe that they do, Regina, and here's why. we have, like I said, we have clients from all 7 continents, if I'm not mistaken. Well, not Antarctica, but definitely the 6 of them. So what I'm saying is we go into their houses, and everybody, when they're at home, that's backstage. If you read the book Presentation of Self in Everyday Life, people that you see in public are doing front of the stage. Then backstage, as you know, Regina, you're a performer. Everything is crazy as hell. And so we go in people's backstage, and what happens is we've had people whose parents will come and help them set up. This is their first apartment and all of that, and they will be doing it in real time. But no, they are not preparing them. So a lot of people's houses, I say children with junky rooms grow up to be adults with junky houses or cluttered, disorganized houses. So in my experience in seeing over 2,200 appointments and projects, the answer is no, it's not happening. I think 2,200 is a large enough sample size to say it's not happening on a large scale. It may be happening in pockets, it may be an anomaly, but it's not taking place at all. And that's why we're here. That's why 6.8 billion unaccountable adults. So I was waiting for Nola to come back to the car. I was scrolling because I knew she was going to be quick. So I was like, I can't read. I don't have enough time to read. She's going to be back. I'm scrolling through TikTok, and there was an African-American woman. I would venture to say that she's about 62, has a large following. And she did a video and she said, I'm sick of all this profanity. I can't even shop. I can't buy nothing because every time I turn around, somebody is cursing. Stop. What? All of this. So she kind of went ham. And I went to the comments, and people were saying, that's right. That's why I just follow Jesus, and they need the Lord. And and they so ignorant. And that just shows you how ignorant they are. And they're just going on and on and on and on. I was a little bit incensed. So I put this as a comment. I've yet to hear back from them. I said, I have 3, I use profanity. I'm a micro influencer on 3 platforms. I have 3 degrees, and I have 5 communication certifications. And a better question would be, why do people use profanity? Because I use it, and I know when I use it, and I know why I'm using it. So I respect your perspective, but if you'd like to hear why I use profanity, feel free to ask. And I haven't heard back from them. It's been almost 24 hours, been about 21 hours. And so for the rest of the day, I asked myself, well, what are you saying? How are you saying yours is different? Because people are like, ours is better, ours is better, ours is better. And so I had this conversation with Nola. And what Nola said is they're hypocrites. So they want to talk about they're not using profanity, but they might be overweight. And gluttony is one of the 7 deadly sins if you're a Christian. They might be drinking. The house could be in disarray. They might be a terrible employee. But because they don't do this one thing over here, they want to hang their hat on that and say, I'm better than you. And it's hypocritical. And so that's what I came to this point is unaccountable people are all concerned about what it looks like, and it's not going to change anything. My message is no less potent because I said motherfucker. Sometimes somebody might need to get called a motherfucker because that's the best word choice for the day. And because of my ability to communicate effectively, whether I'm talking to people in the streets or if I'm talking to people in boardrooms, I have the ability to do both, which is why one of the 74 principles of real leadership is to communicate effectively. And so unaccountable people, everything is what it looks like. If it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, it can't be a pigeon, but it actually is. And nobody is saying, how can we change the brain? How can we wire the brain to whatever it is that you're talking about? No one's focused on it. And even Jim Quick and what he's doing, it's not enough. It's not enough to get you the best. You can use it, but are you going to be at your best? And that's where I come into play to get you that from Chris Henry 70% all the way to the best to your 100% level. Those are the things that I was thinking about yesterday, and I'm always self-analyzing, and that's what the whole point is to make a short story very long, is that's what I do. I self-reflect. I see something, a human interaction that's taking place, and then I go within, and then I have a response based upon that, based upon the 74 principles of real leadership that actually work, because it's going to change something. Saying that you can't buy lipstick and that people are using profanity without getting to root cause analysis as to why people use profanity and then attaching it to religion, because that's what people do. You want to make somebody stop something, just throw a religious reference in there, and this is why you need to stop doing that. But if you don't say, well, prune that neural pathway, syntax versus syntax, how can you get them to start behaving? You just need to behave differently. How? If you don't prune the profanity neural pathway and replace it with reading and self-reflection and analysis, what words, because it was saying stop cursing, but what do you replace those words with? If you're going to say don't use this word, you're going to have to increase your personal lexicon, your own personal vocabulary, to stop saying motherfucker and say gentleman, lady. You're going to need to do that, but to just say stop doing it, that's not going to help the situation. And then to be self-righteous and say Jesus don't want you cursing. I would venture to say when he tore that shit up in the tabernacle that some F-bombs probably got dropped. I wasn't there, I don't know, but hey, it is what it is. So the moral of the story is this: in order for you to know your business, you are going to have to know yourself, period. You are going to have to know who you are. Because if you don't want to go and dig up, start excavating all that other painful shit, you could get to 90%, but you're not going to get to 100% of your best without digging that up. And that's why I'm totally transparent with y'all. When something comes up, it comes out, because feelings are just indicators on the feelings dashboard. Something, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? And what am I going to do about it? That's it. And once you have a solution for it, if that feeling shows back up, you implement that strategy and you keep it pushing. That's what has to happen. And as we say in Al-Anon, it's progress, not perfection. Unaccountable people want everything done in a New York minute, immediate gratification, because they live in a hijacked amygdala state. When you are in your frontal lobe, you know things take time. Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers, talks about it takes 10,000 hours to become your best, to master that thing. I'm telling you, it's going to take you a lifetime to become personally accountable, because every time you best one area, you got to best the next area and the next area and the next area. And so in closing, as Regina said, you are not your role. Who you are is not what you do. And if you wrap those two up together, the last thing that you are going to do is detach yourself from being Captain Thomas and say, who am I? What do I stand for? Why was I actually born? If you are sitting in any situation where you are one of many, you don't know who you are. And it's not, Regina, you are a retired teacher. It's not that you did not come here to teach. It's that, did you do something extraordinary that sets you apart from the rest of the elementary school teachers? They have that Teacher of the Year award and everybody else is just phoning it in. But if you have, and they had somebody, a teacher, I was reading a book a couple weeks ago, and the person said, in 40 years, I will be retiring from teaching, and it's going to be year 2000. I want y'all to meet me. I think he said at the top of the Empire State Building or something. And his students came 40 years later as he was retiring to have that moment with him. And they were like, that he was such an amazing teacher. And then I saw another teacher on TikTok who was retiring. He was a choir teacher for the school. And all of his students came back and sang songs and solos and everything to commemorate what he had done in their life. So when you are making a difference, when you are here and you are determining what your success means to you, it doesn't look like anybody else's definition of success. So if you need to be in a hideous ass Phantom Dawn, pulling up with your Botox and everything, and your part with your extensions, you have no idea what success actually means, and you're not fulfilled. None of that stuff is fulfilling. Once you go and purchase it and pick it out, and 10 months later you get it and all this other stuff, and you pull up, that's it. That's it. There's nothing else there. And that's what people want to hang their hats on: their house, their car, their clothes, their followers, and everything else. Well, what's your impact? What did you actually create from scratch yourself? Your life's purpose. Where is that at? And if you are one of 14,000 to 100 and whatever that number was, 48,000, Kevin, I think that's what you said. Yeah, 10,000 to 148,000. That's not special. That's not special at all. People knew who I was at Frito Lay because I was a bad mofo. People knew who I was when I went there because I was the only. I wasn't one of. I'm one of a kind. That's it. But I am definitely not one of 1,000 professional speakers in the world. It's not going to happen. So in summary, know your business, know your business, know your business. You are the CEO of Me Incorporated. Let this live, whether you're watching it now or on the replay, be your starting point for the next chapter in your life. I know who I am. I know my business. You are the CEO of a great, amazing corporation, and it's called yourself. And so walk around with your shoulders back and your head held high and good posture, and let people know the champ is here. That's what you need to do. And let's stop all this unaccountability, self-righteousness, and all of this that doesn't rewire the brain to best. is futile on a good day. And we're not going to have that going forward. So thank yourself for taking the time to know more about yourself, learn how to create the new neural pathway of know your business, and then strengthen it on a daily basis. I will be back tomorrow, God willing, higher power in the universe, same time, same place, safe space, different brand t-shirt. You all go off and have an amazing day. Take care.